You can do it, get a plan that works for you, right? And then start executing it. I would say, and I'll give some advice out to our listeners here. I would say the issues I guess I would have is just it can get overwhelming. I think a lot of people could probably relate to that, right? It's a lot of information, but here's what I have always talked with people about. You can do it. All you need to do is study and get ready for the exam. You don't have to be a great test taker. I never considered myself a great test taker, so maybe was kind of nervous, right? And then with all the content, and I was working full-time, actually a little more than full-time because I was early in my career. I was actually taking MBA courses. I was getting my master's in business at the same time, taking graduate level courses, and I was studying for the CPA exam. So what I did, I came up with a plan. I wanted to take it and get it over with. That was just me, right? Not everyone maybe wants to do that and get so much at once. But I came up with a study plan, and I started studying right after my tax season ended in April. And I took all 4 sections before the end of October. I wanted to knock everything out in 6 months. I passed everything on the first try. But what I had to do was get very focused, right? Had a goal, I got focused. I broke that goal down to where I could achieve steps. I studied. You really do have to study. It's not rocket science. We can all probably pass it, but you've got to study and you got to have your plan, and then it's execution at that point. So it can be overwhelming, but my encouragement to everyone is you can do it, get a plan that works for you, right? And then start executing it. I did, yeah. We in that window of testing for the financial, so the FAR exam was that section, and the auditing section. That the FAR was actually the first section I took, and then auditing. And so yeah, those two I got the highest, and then I started backing off studying just a little bit because I knew that I had a good plan to knock that out in 6 months. I knew how to study, and I was able to execute that and yeah, pass and get a couple highest award recipient kind of things, and for that window. And yeah, it was really rewarding to get that and to accomplish it and get it behind me. Yeah. So what I did was I don't like to overcomplicate things, so I just go right to a calendar, right? So I take a review course material. I'll tell you what I use. I use Becker. Find one that works best for you is always going to be my advice to everyone, but I use Becker, and they give you some kind of guidelines into some typical number of weeks, or basically they kind of tell you like number of hours it typically may take an average person. And so what I did was, you know, I was doing my MBA, like you said, I was working full-time in public accounting, and I wanted to knock this out. So I thought about the hours I had in a week and said, all right, it's math at this point, right? You just see how many hours a day you need to study. On the weekends, of course, I studied more. And what I ended up doing was building my schedule to where I took my first exam in May. So I started studying after April 15th, took my first exam in May. At the time, June was a blackout month where we couldn't take an exam. So I just studied that month. Right at the beginning of July, I took a section. I studied. I took another section in August. We weren't able to test in September. That was blackout. And then what I wanted to do was study that whole month. And then in October, I took my last section. So that way I gave myself probably like 4-ish weeks for audit, 6 to 7 for that FAR section, that financial section, the tax section, about 6-ish weeks. And BEC, at the time, of course, the CPA evolution is changing our exams starting on January 1st, 2024. But we had our BEC section. I studied about 3 weeks on that. So really every day, maybe an hour to a couple hours at night. And then the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, pretty much all day studying there. And then a couple days before I took the exam, I would usually take off from work, take some vacation time, or lots of employers give you some time, right, to study for your exam. So I always like be really heavy in reviewing my material the 2 to 4 days leading up to the exam. My rule was no new information that lasts like handful of days, because you don't want to introduce more and more new concepts. So it's all about review at that point. And like I said at the beginning, right, it has to work for you. So for me, with the goals that I had, and I was doing so many things at the same time, that worked for me at the time. Would it work today? I don't know. Does it work for everyone? Absolutely not. But for me, of what I wanted to accomplish, I just wanted to get it behind me. So I just focused, got it done, and moved on with life.